This episode of the Feelings Over Facts podcast is sponsored by our YouTube channel. Head over to youtube.com/Feelings Over Facts podcast and give us a subscribe and a like. Welcome in to the Feelings Over Facts podcast. I'm your host, Zach Simmons, here with my co-host, Daniel Jones, a.k.a. DJ. DJ, how are you feeling?
Feeling outstanding.
Feeling good. Back again for episode number 29. Let's go ahead and kick it off up front with a little bit of, we got a lot to get to today. So let's go ahead and get a little of the normal stuff out of the way. If you are not a follower of the Feelings Over Facts Instagram or TikTok, head over there and find us and give us a follow and like our videos. We post lots of short form content on there. That is some extra stuff highlighting some of the segments from the podcast. So head over there, give those a follow and a like, as well as head over to youtube.com/Feelings Over Facts podcast. We are currently live right now, and you can interact with us in the chat. Give us questions. We will answer your questions live on the podcast. And yeah, lots of fun stuff. All right. The chat is bumping. So much fun. All right, DJ, we have a lot to get to today, but first let me go ahead and get us started with what missed today's show. What missed today's show? Los Angeles Lakers win the first ever in-season tournament, becoming the first ever in-season tournament champions. Draymond Green suspended indefinitely from the NBA for throwing a UFC-style haymaker to Yusuf Nurkic. Literally a swinging back fist. He claims he had no control over his body. He's the victim here. So he is suspended.
He needs to get that checked
indefinitely. Yeah, for sure. And finally, what missed the show? Shohei Ohtani signs with the Los Angeles Dodgers, a cool $700 million contract for Mr. Ohtani, going to be playing in the lovely city of Los Angeles.
He was already.
So, you're right.
You just realized
going to continue to be playing in the lovely city of Los Angeles.
Oh man,
for just a little bit more money.
A little bit, man. That dude has never have to worry about eating like he went from eating like grilled cheese and ramen to steak and lobster. That's what that man just went to.
Quite the upgrade for sure. All right, that is what missed today's show. DJ, let's go ahead and get into our first topic. As we saw this past week in the wonderful National Football League, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, disposed of the Philadelphia Eagles, beating them quite convincingly after losing to them in their first go-around. So after beating one of the best teams in the NFL, one of a lot of people's Super Bowl pick, some people's top team in the NFL, and looking as good as they have been recently, I wanted us to have the conversation. Do we truly believe the Dallas Cowboys to be Super Bowl contenders? And I can go ahead and go first because unlike you, I have believed in the Cowboys for a while now, as one should. I believe the Cowboys are 100% Super Bowl contenders. I believe we had a similar topic about this a month or so ago. And I said them, San Francisco, and Philly are my only true Super Bowl contenders in the NFC. And I think this game kind of validated that a little bit, or a lot of it. They really don't do any aspect of the game poorly. They are one of the best passing offenses in the NFL. Tony Pollard has been running the ball very effectively. They have a great defense. Emerging star cornerback Land is been absolutely popping off recently. They obviously have, in my opinion, a top 5 defensive player in the NFL in Micah Parsons. And the Cowboys don't really do any aspect of the game poorly. It really is going to boil down to is, can Dak Prescott play clean games against good teams? And I think that this game against the Eagles proved that he is definitely capable of that. Now, can he do it in the playoffs is really going to be the real test, because up to this far point in his career, he has not been able to get it done in the playoffs. But if you're asking me right now, the Dallas Cowboys are 100% a Super Bowl contender in my eyes. They have been for a while now. What say you?
Don't get me wrong. Their win against Philly was impressive. Honestly, for me though, it comes down to I agree with the whole, Dak needs to play big in big time games against big time teams. He has not done that. Pretty much anytime he's ran into the 49ers, absolutely just eating his lunch on some level, either is mentally or actually physically eating his lunch.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I just don't think that Dallas is ever going to do anything with the head coach that they have.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in Mike McCarthy.
Don't believe in McCarthy as a head coach?
No. Yes, don't get me wrong. I know he's already won 1 Super Bowl. But.
Yeah, with an all-time great quarterback, though.
I was about to say, yeah, there was some outstanding circumstances.
Aaron Rodgers might be a little better than Dak Prescott.
I mean, he's got a bazooka for an arm.
Yep.
Great quarterback. One of the best quarterbacks we've gotten to see in our lifetime. So, I mean, there's that. And Dak's definitely not on the same level as Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Probably not even now either. But I think that the defense is there. I think the defense has what they need to do to be a Super Bowl winning team. It all comes down to play calling and decision making, and that has to do with the quarterback and coaches. I won't even just say it's only on McCarthy. Now, I will say this team has looked a lot better offensively ever since they let go of Kellen Moore, which I don't think Kellen Moore was that bad of an OC, but I think that they needed to get a different voice in the play calling situation. So it's looked good at times. Don't get me wrong. I still remember that game against the 49ers where they got absolutely wasted. But
yeah,
at the same time,
if you're going to knock the Dallas Cowboys and say that they're not true contenders, it's because they have shown no sign in the recent past of being able to beat San Francisco. Every single time they've come up against them, they have gotten absolutely pounded. So if it has proved to be their bugaboo, for lack of a better term. So that's going to be the real test for the Cowboys, is if they meet up with San Francisco in the playoffs, are they able to get past them? Because at the current moment, it doesn't appear like they know how to beat them, which is going to be problematic because with them beating Philly, the San Francisco 49ers now control their own destiny to get the number 1 seed in the NFC. So, because they do have the tiebreaker over the Dallas Cowboys with beating them. So, if San Francisco gets the 1 seed and the NFC goes through their house, it will be very interesting to see if Dallas is able to overcome that. But as of right now, I do really believe in them, and I do see them as a true Super Bowl contender in my eyes. All right, on to our next segment. The Bills went into Kansas City this past weekend and took down Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They beat them 20-17, and Josh Allen looked really good in spots, as he tends to do. And they remain alive to make the playoffs and could potentially become the 7th seed. The Bills could. So I wanted us to kind of have this conversation. Do we think that the Bills could be a very dangerous 7th seed? Potentially one of the most dangerous 7 seeds we've seen in recent memory.
Well, I mean, I think a lot is going to be told on what happens this Sunday when they play Dallas. That's going to be a big one. You know, Dallas coming off a couple big wins against pretty good opponents, I will say as well. So this could be add to that, you know, is Dallas a Super Bowl contender conversation.
Yeah.
But, you know, Buffalo could be a very dangerous team, but I feel like most of the teams that are in the AFC right now are quote unquote dangerous teams. Mm-hmm. If you look at the standings and what the playoff picture would look at right now, and you know, just so happen to have it pulled up, even though half their team has been on the IR or is on the IR, the Cleveland Browns are a 5 seed. I don't think anybody would want to play. Yeah. And for some reason, Indy is just still chilling. Never would I have thought that Gardner Minshew would have this
hanging
team
around
where they are right now. It's insane. Whoever gets that 7th seed spot is going to be tough to get out. And as of right now, it'd be Miami facing them. And after what I've seen from Miami this last week, as soon as you get, if you can not even necessarily shut down Tyreek, but like limit Tyreek Hill, that offense kind of folds in some levels. I mean, you lose to the Titans. How good are you?
Sure. Their first road win.
Yeah, in an insane fashion too. Always have a reason to bring up the Titans, you know, in conversation.
I mean, that was just an insane game.
That's true. But anybody from 11 to 6, technically, because Pittsburgh's, you know, same record as the Colts and, you know, the Texans and Denver and, you know, all these teams it's not going to be as simple as, you know, it's not going to be a simple, easy playoff win for anybody, because I do believe that the AFC is a little deeper. Now, I think the AFC's got a little bit more injury problems, especially at the quarterback position. You know, Andy's got a backup quarterback. Houston this week's playing Tennessee, and CJ Stroud is projected to not play. It's going to be Davis Mills again. Since he doesn't have their starting quarterback. Pittsburgh doesn't have their starting quarterback. That's
Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah, that's five teams that are in a playoff race for the wild card that don't have their starting quarterback at the moment, and or will not have them for the rest of the season. Now, I do think Kenny Pickett's coming back.
Yeah,
but honestly, let's be honest.
So will CJ, I think, too.
Yeah, 100%. It's a concussion. I don't think he's done for the year.
But is Kenny Pickett that much better than a backup quarterback?
That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, like I think he's a little bit better than Mitch, but like barely. So don't get me wrong. I mean, I haven't looked at their schedule, the Bills' schedule, remaining schedule. Looking at it now,
I know they have the Cowboys this weekend.
They got the Cowboys, and they play the Chargers, and then Patriots and Dolphins. So I think they need to win out to 100% make the playoffs. Have to win out.
If they win out, they'll make the playoffs for sure.
That Dolphins game might not mean anything, but if you're the Dolphins, you have the 1 or 2 seed locked up. Do you really want to try and throw anybody out there to just stop your rival from doing anything? That is the question. I don't know. It's going to be interesting because this Buffalo team is still talented. They have all the pieces there. I think people had them as being one of the 1 or 2 seeds, really.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I think that the answer to that question, could the Bills be a dangerous 7 seed, is yes, absolutely. They could be very dangerous. They also could get steamrolled and they could be a very undangerous 7 seed. That is what we have seen from the Buffalo Bills this season. Is they have extremely high highs and they have extremely low lows. They've beaten the Kansas City Chiefs and lost to the New York Jets all in one season. That is the definition of what the Buffalo Bills are. So they can be very dangerous, and if given the right matchup in the 7 seed, if they get they could be facing Kansas City again in the first round of the playoffs. That's very realistic possibility. They could also be facing Baltimore. So, and I really don't want to see them face Cleveland because I don't think they match up well with Cleveland at all. I think that pass rush against Josh Allen, who makes some questionable decisions, he's thrown an interception in 8 straight games. Josh Allen has. So that defense could really put him to the test. So my answer is yes and no, because they are a roller coaster. The Buffalo Bills are. So it's really going to depend on how they are doing on that specific day, because Josh Allen is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL. He can make all of the throws, but
Isn't
on
he?
any
Isn't
given
he
day,
leading the league? Isn't he one of the league leaders in
he's the league leader in turnovers. Number
I
one.
knew that.
Yeah.
No, it's just more. Isn't he doing something really good this year too? Though
He's leading the league in touchdowns as well. Total touchdowns, passing and touchdowns. He is number 1, but he's also leading the league in turnovers. So if that doesn't epitomize what Josh Allen is, then I don't think anything else will. To lead
he's
the
all or
league
nothing
in touchdowns, or exactly. There's no in between with this man. So yes, the Buffalo Bills can be a very dangerous 7 seed. They may be even the most dangerous 7 seed that I can remember.
He got passed by Dak for passing
history.
touchdowns, by the way.
For passing? Okay. But he is leading the league in total touchdowns, if you include rushing, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
Pretty sure I saw that.
And he's tied. He's tied for interceptions with Sam Howell.
Oh.
14.
Wonder if he can take the lead this week against Dallas.
True. We'll see.
We'll have to
Head-to-head
see.
matchup.
Yep. But yeah, so there is a little bit about the Bills and what they could potentially be as the number 7 seed. All right.
Shouldn't be boring, at least.
Definitely not. Moving right along. I wanted us to kind of talk about, as the season is coming to a close and the race is narrowing down a little bit, who do we have as the most valuable player? Who is our MVP at the current moment? And who do we think is potentially in position to also win it? Who could overtake who we have as our current favorite? So, DJ, who is your current MVP, and why is that so?
For me, I think it has to be Lamar as of right now.
Lamar Jackson.
He's just playing undeniably very well. He has that team in a very good spot. 1 seed right now. I can't deny that's impressive. Last time he won MVP, they're the 1 seed.
Yeah.
And that was a big part because of him. So I think that continues. The only other person I think that you could put up is probably who you're going to say. So I'm not going to spoil it or try and step on your toes. But I think I know who you would have. Is it Dak?
That is one of my 2 that I say are the true contenders.
Are you going to say Brock is the other one?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not Brock Purdy.
All right. Well, those are my 2, Lamar and Dak. Those are my 2 MVP leading candidates. The only other, if we're talking non-quarterback, because I like to do this sometimes. I don't think anybody that's not a quarterback isn't going to win this trophy, but I do think it's Miami, and it's Tyreek Hill. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the last 10 MVPs have been quarterbacks, so giving anyone else but a quarterback is probably not going to happen. But Dak Prescott is my current MVP at this moment. If you look at the last 10 quarterback or last 10 MVPs, all of them were from finished 1 or 2 in their conference, and the Dallas Cowboys have a chance to do that. So if he can finish strong and get his team to the 1 or the 2 seed, I think with his numbers, with him leading the league, tied with Josh Allen in passing touchdowns, he certainly has the best path forward towards MVP. If you're asking me who the actual most valuable player is, it's 100% Tyreek Hill. I think that you could if you we asked this question. This is a good question to ask whenever you're thinking of the actual most valuable player. Who is the player, including quarterbacks, that if you remove them from their team's offense or defense, they are the most worse. Like if you remove Tua from the Dolphins' offense, I think that they are not as bad as if you remove Tyreek from that offense. They would be substantially worse, is what I have seen from the limited time that he has not been available to play. So by that definition, I think Tyreek Hill, with the numbers that he's putting up, definitely should be in the conversation for MVP if it wasn't such a quarterback award. So I would say Tyreek would be my MVP up there with Dak at the current moment. But if you're looking into the most valuable player betting market, I would highly suggest Dak over Tyreek because this award always goes to a quarterback. So betting anyone except a quarterback is probably just a donation to the sports books at this point. Unfortunately, which I don't know why they do that. That's like so uninteresting. Like why make your most prized single player award be uninteresting? Why always just give it to a quarterback who has a good record? I've never really understood that.
I will say it till my lungs give out. I completely agree with that because I 100% think that Derrick Henry should have an MVP. Because he got over 2,000 rushing yards, and the last person to do that before him got MVP.
Yep. That is true. Who was the last person before him?
Adrian Peterson.
Great player.
Adrian Both are.
Peterson. It's true. But do you have anybody else besides Tyreek that if you remove them from their offense, they would be more worse than if you remove Tyreek from that Dolphins offense?
Are we just talking non-quarterbacks?
I mean, I would include. Maybe non-quarterbacks.
Probably. Okay, yeah. So I feel like it's easier to say because, like, you could say for anybody, like, yeah, any quarterback that you take out, your team's going to struggle a little bit more. So I feel like that's a little unfair. So we're just talking non-quarterbacks.
I don't know if there's anyone more than Tyreek.
More meaningful? No, I don't think so. Because, like, you could say, like, Jamar, you could say Justin Jefferson, you could say a bunch of other receivers.
Yeah, that's true. We saw Justin Jefferson not in the Vikings offense, and they've arguably been all right. They've been okay.
You really want to wait? Hold a second. You want to say that after they won a game 3-0?
The Vikings?
Yes, they won the game. They won last week 3-0.
It was 0-0 until
outside
of that
quarter.
But outside of that game, like they've been winning. They won a few games with Josh Dobbs without Justin Jefferson in there.
They benched.
They've been okay.
Josh Dobbs, and it's Nick Mullins now. He's the third string. They already said that Jaron Hall is this a second now.
This is true. So you're saying Justin Jefferson more than Tyreek?
No, because I think that's 100% just quarterback problems. Personally,
that's true.
So I think it's right now. I can't definitively be like, okay, actually, here I'm going to take that back. Travis Kelce.
You're saying Travis Kelce is a bigger deal to the Chiefs offense than Tyreek Hill is to the Dolphins?
I think that's the same level.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't think that's that.
They lost the Lions whenever they didn't have him.
And Travis isn't having as good of a year as he usually does. So this year is like the one standout where it's like, oh, you're probably wrong. But Mahomes, when he doesn't have Travis Kelce there, it's a struggle sometimes.
Yeah, that's very true. Some action in the chat. Jake is saying he watched a video of Tyreek claiming he could beat Usain Bolt in the 60-meter dash. He said, what a delusional guy. Tyreek is definitely track speed fast, but certainly not Usain Bolt track speed fast.
If we're talking about Usain Bolt now, maybe he might be able to catch him because Bolt's retired. But if we're talking prime time Usain Bolt breaking the record, I don't think I can agree with that.
Yeah, certainly not. Usain Bolt, it's definitely different gravy as far as sprinting than Tyreek Hill. Mike is saying Peyton Manning won it over Chris Johnson when he hit 2,000, didn't he? He's asking. And he said that would have been another snub.
I think that sounds right. Yeah, but then again, the reason why I had a problem with Derrick Henry not getting it is because he had a better record. When Chris Johnson got 2K, our team was 8-8 back when you still could be 8-8. So like, yeah, he had 2,000 yards rushing, and he was definitely the best player on our team. But like, whenever Derrick did it, like, we were one of the better teams in the AFC. So
that's true. He was extremely instrumental to them having that record, which I think is what they look for a lot whenever they're giving out the MVP.
True.
Which is my main argument for not giving it to Brock Purdy, because I think that they could be just as good as they are right now if Sam Darnold was starting instead of Brock Purdy, in my opinion, because of the way that offense operates. So, yeah. All right, there is our current look at our opinions on who is doing well in the MVP, who we have as our current MVP. Finally, wanted to move on to our last actual segment, and I wanted to talk about. You suggested this topic, so I'll let you go ahead and ask the question.
Okay, so as of reports have said per NBC. This is the final year that Bill Belichick will be in New England. Now, it hasn't been, definitive yet, and they're not going to fire him before the season's over. But Belichick's, run in New England finally coming to an end. It looks like they have one of the worst record. I think the second worst record in the NFL at the moment. They're 3-10.
They're just a little second. The Panthers are the worst at the current moment.
Yes, correct. And they're tied with the Cardinals on record with 3-10.
Yeah.
Belichick ending his run in New England, but do you still consider him? It's basically a two-part question. Do you think that he is the greatest coach of all time with one of the best runs that you've ever seen in the NFL? And after he leaves New England, take a guess of what he would do next. What do you think we see him in a different team, trying to, build up his legacy again? Because I think a lot of people are giving him crap, saying that look how instrumental Brady was to you, and your record without Brady is terrible. And maybe he goes and tries and wins another Super Bowl in a different team.
Yeah, so I think that his legacy since Brady leaving has definitely taken a hit. Brady going and winning a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers definitely hurt Bill Belichick's legacy, in my opinion, because it showed that this was no longer just a tandem success that these guys have had for so long. This isn't just the Patriot way. This is just this guy is really good at playing quarterback, the best that we've ever seen as far as winning. Is the question. So that definitely hurt his legacy a lot. Do I still think he's the greatest coach of all time? Yes. I'm not sure who I would put over him. No one in the history of coaching has had more of a dynastic run than he has had as much success winning wise than the Patriots. So I would still have him as the greatest coach of all time because I don't really know what else to judge coaching greatness on other than winning. And he's one of the most winning coaches of all time.
Second most winningest head coach of all time.
I thought he had the most Super Bowls.
I'm talking about wins.
Okay, just pure wins. He is second.
Behind the other person that I think you might have to put in that conversation, which is Coach Don Shula.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was a long
he's the
time
only.
ago, though.
Yes, but he's still the only coach to coach an undefeated team and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Bill's the only other one that got close enough to do it.
Yep, one game away, one helmet catch away. So, I still have him as the greatest coach of all time. I think that his legacy took a huge hit with Brady leaving. As far as what Belichick is going to do next, I think if he wants to recover some of his legacy, I guess, if he's interested in that, he doesn't really strike me as the guy that really cares about it that much. He would go somewhere else where he has a chance of winning. But I think he honestly is going to retire if he gets let go. I mean, he's pretty old, right? How old's Bill?
He's up there. I think he's in his 60s, maybe 70s.
He's got to be getting up there. 71 years old. So he probably doesn't have a lot of years left in him. So he may, or not like being alive, but quote coaching. So
Bill's gonna die.
Yeah.
Hot take from Zach Simmons on the
sounded like I was saying he's gonna die soon. No, just coaching. So I think, I mean, he's iconic as a Patriots head coach. And I think that he may want to retire as such. So I think that he will end his career as a Patriot. That's how I see the Bill Belichick situation.
I agree with that. I do think that he could definitely hang it up after this, if that's the case. I know he doesn't want to end on this way, so I think he could be persuaded to go coach again. Much like Bill Parcells, another person who might be in that conversation for one of the better coaches in the NFL history. But there's a huge rumor that I do not believe that Bill Belichick wants to come to Nashville because he's from Nashville originally. Apparently, I didn't know this until like this week. It's a rumor, yes. I don't believe it. I won't believe it until I see it. But there's a rumor that's saying, like, fire me or trade me. I want to go to Nashville and I'll go coach with Mike and be his DC.
Like he'll be under Mike Vrabel. I don't believe that.
I don't believe it. Not one bit.
He would go from not even a head coach to a defensive coordinator.
I mean, not anymore, I don't think. Honestly, I think Bill, coaching wise, and look at his defense. His defense has kept them in games and this year. Their defense is solid. And I still think he has the X's and O's part of the game down. I think the part that is getting Bill fired, when he does officially get fired, is GM Bill. I think he's in not a great job of team building recently. He hadn't been able to find that quarterback. He's found other good positions, don't get me wrong. He's hit on some other spots. But quarterback has been a big lack of talent there. Mac and Bailey Zappi have not been it.
Yeah.
And you can blame it some on the coach, the play calling too, but their receiving core is awful too. Just terrible.
Worse than the league. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I don't think he gets fired. I think he finishes the season and then I think it'll be more of like a low key firing. Like he'll be asked to step down. He'll just give like a speech of like him stepping down and retiring. I don't know if they'll like fire him.
Maybe.
I think he's too legendary of a Patriots figure and just a head coach in general to do that. I think that it'll be an off season like low key thing. This is kind of how I see it going. Do you think he's the greatest coach of all time?
I think so. If we're just going based on championship wins, second all time in coaching winning wins in the NFL history, that's not easy to do. Yeah, he's been doing it a while, but and when I say wins, don't get me wrong, he's been a coordinator for so many years. He was a coordinator in New York when they won the Super Bowl with Bill Parcells. We're not counting wins as coordinators. I'm talking about just wins as head coaches. I didn't really specify that. He is second all time for head coach wins. You have to be doing it for a while. In the NFL, as we all know, it's hard to, be a long-term head coach and have as much success, especially in the salary cap era. Where
I will say we've never seen the level of domination of a division than what we saw with the Patriots and Bill Belichick. When I don't know if we'll ever see a team win a division 11 times in a row again. That
Probably
may never
not.
happen again.
It's an easy. I mean, the only other team that I say could do it is we're watching them now. And it's the Kansas City Chiefs.
How many? They've won what? 5?
That sounds right. 5 or 6.
The last 5 AFC championships have been in Kansas City, so I know they've at least won 5.
Well, one of those years you have to remember they were the 2 seeds still.
Yeah, but I still think they won the division that year.
They did. Well, of course, if you were the 2 seed, you won the division.
Yeah.
If you're in the top 4, you win the division.
Right. So
it might be before
Kansas
that too, because that year that we went into KC and beat Alex Smith, I think they won a division that year too, because we were the wild card team.
Here, I'll look it up. But that's what I'm saying. Like that's the level of domination that the Patriots had. Is we think of Kansas City as this dynasty type of team right now, and they've only at most won half of the amount of divisions in a row that the Patriots won. That's crazy.
That's insane. I mean, we have noticed, we have seen I look back at this as a sports fan. We have seen some insanely great
7
feats. 7,
Kansas
okay.
City has won 7 in a row.
So they're getting close, and they're probably going to win another one this year. I think that's probably. I think they've already pretty much not locked it up, but they're close.
Yeah, very close.
Let's go look.
So they are getting.
Yeah, I mean, Denver is a game behind, shockingly enough, and they split this year.
Yeah, it's true.
So we'll see. That'd be hilarious if Denver somehow wins the division.
Somehow wins the division.
I mean, let's look at the rest of this.
What a comeback that would be.
Let's look at the rest of this the schedule for the KC Chiefs. They play New England this week.
They have New England this week.
Then they play Vegas.
That should be a win. Should be another win.
Then they play Cincy. And then they play the Chargers. So they probably should win out.
Yes, they should. But they also lost to the Packers, and they should have beat them. So who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
All right. There's a little bit of discussion about Bill Belichick as he is nearing his end as the Patriots quarterback.
Conversation about Bill Belichick, and then started to talk about the Chiefs for some reason.
We were talking about dynasty type of teams.
That's fair.
It was kind of relevant.
It was.
All right.
Ish.
Moving on to our most anticipated game of the weekend. I will go ahead and go first with this one, as I am not sure if you have yours yet.
I do.
So, nice.
Calm your titties.
My most anticipated game of the week is a little bit different. I usually go with who I think the best game is. But my most anticipated game of the weekend is the New York Football Giants versus the New Orleans Saints. Tommy DeVito is must-watch TV at the current moment. The Italian quarterback and his agent, who looks like he's straight out of Goodfellas. Tommy DeVito is just must-watch TV. Like, he's an absolute comic book character just playing quarterback for the New York Giants at the current moment. Whenever they show his dad in the stands, and he's just the most Italian-looking guy you've ever seen in your entire life. It's so funny. So that is why that game is my most anticipated game of the weekend.
So we've already kind of mentioned mine. I'm going with Dallas at Buffalo.
All right.
If Dallas is if they're going to be a legitimate team, they need to go in to be like we were saying, they need to be able to play against good teams. And I do think that besides record-wise, Buffalo on paper is a good team.
Yeah.
And going into Buffalo, especially in December, is not easy. This is going to be a tough game, tough atmosphere. Bills Mafia will be ready for this game. They need the Bills have to win out if they're going to try and make a playoff push. So this is a must-win. I think it's honestly a must-win for Dallas because they are still pushing for that division. So for me, this is a must-win for both teams. Can Dak continue his MVP candidacy? We'll see. It's going to be one of those games where you say get your popcorn ready before this interesting. Which I would have been more excited for this Baltimore-Jacksonville game if I knew what Trevor Lawrence was going to be looking like.
Yeah. If he's going to be 100%.
Yes. And also my other game of the week is you and I facing each other in our Dynasty fantasy football league to see who gets the number one pick, because the winner of that gets the number one pick. And you are projected to beat me, but you have also lost 11 straight.
Yeah, I'm not exactly coming into the game with confidence. So we will see. So we face each other in the Dynasty Toilet Bowl. Would love to tell our viewers that we're facing each other in the Dynasty Championship, but that's just not the case. So
we should have just said bowl, not the toilet part.
Yeah, exactly. All right, there's our most
for both of us.
Yeah, exactly. There's our most anticipated games of the weekend. Let's go ahead and hop into the most profitable segment in all of sports. DJ, let's hear your bets of the week.
My bets
heater of hitting West Ham money line.
Big plus odds on that one, and the rest of
hot turds.
Hot turds, baby, running down your leg if you don't watch out. All right, so your most anticipated game is one of my picks this week. I have the Jets Giants +6.
I like it.
I don't know why, but the Saints, man, they just kind of there, and I don't know if I trust them to do anything. I know they're still in a playoff push technically, so I think this is but the Giants aren't trying to win this game. Like I don't think they are, but Tommy DeVito, man, he's cooking.
He's
cooking salt bait. Lately. Just turn the hand over and just salt bait that.
Man, not how to lose.
Then we're going back for my other NFL game. I have 2 NFL games. Going back to the NFC South, we're going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers +3.5. I think they go up into Lambeau and somehow pull off an upset against the Green Bay Packers, because Green Bay coming off a loss against a Giants team that they probably should have beat. But also, I just want to give out a shout out. We were talking about the Giants earlier. Big shout out to Thibodeau. Kayvon Thibodeau has been absolutely lighting it up this year, and I feel like people aren't really talking about it because he's on such a bad team. But it's good to see a young pass rusher, starting to hit his stride,
showing that he's worthy of how high he was drafted. Finally,
and why people were high on him in general, because he dropped a little bit.
He was rumored to be the number 1 pick for a little while coming out of Oregon.
He was, exactly. So, the man is playing out of his mind. He has 11.5 sacks. You get the double digits in sacks, regardless of who you are. That's a great season. So massive props to him. Had to get that shout out for him because I think he deserves it, especially on the team that they kind of sold one of the better defensive linemen.
Yeah.
And also don't have their starting quarterback and having a backup who's lighting it up on fire, like you said. And then we're going to go hit the Premier League again for my last bet of the week.
Back to the football.
It is not necessarily a world beater, but it's here. We're doing it. Going Everton money line over Burnley at Turf Moor. That, and for those who don't know, that is Burnley's home stadium.
Yep.
On the road, in the Prem, it doesn't matter who you're playing. It's not easy. Everton's been playing very well recently, and it's been impressive watching them, kind of having to come back for getting 10 points deducted because of the FA ruling. Yeah. They were in relegation until last week where they pulled a win out. And I think they beat somebody that was kind of impressive. I forgot who they beat.
Chelsea.
That's right, yeah. I'd say that's impressive, but it really isn't. It's not impressive. Chelsea's booty.
Hey, they hung in there with Man City. So they're not too bad.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, that's my bets of the week.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like that Everton one. All right. On to my bets of the week. I'm doing 3 NFL coming at you. Quick, I've got the Browns -3 against the Bears. I think that the Bears pulled off a big win against their division rival in the Detroit Lions, and they are riding high. And I think that they come back down to earth this week. And I don't think we're going to see the Chicago Bears team win 2 games in a row. So I've got the Browns -3. I like that defense against Justin Fields. Next, I've got the Kansas City Chiefs -7.5 against the Patriots. I will look to fade the Patriots at any way that I can. This is a terrible team, and the Chiefs are looking to get back on the winning side of things after losing 2 games in a row. And I think that they are going to take it out on the Patriots, and they could obliterate them. So I love -7.5 for them. And then finally, Commanders +7 against the Rams. The Rams are a team that we've seen do some good things and also do some really bad things this season. And I think that this is going to be one of those weeks where they just do not show up. And the Commanders +7, I like getting a whole touchdown with the Commanders, team that's been really scrappy this entire year. I like that. Those are my 3 bets of the week. We've got Browns -3 against the Bears, Kansas City Chiefs -7.5 against the Patriots, and Commanders +7 against the Rams.
You like that?
I like that.
Thanks, Kirk Cousins.
Yep. All right. Finally, we are on to our feeling of the week. I will go ahead and go first. My feeling of the week is no one knows what is going on in the landscape of college basketball and at least until late January. There were 4 ranked teams played last night. 2 of them lost to teams that were not even close to being ranked, like very no-name colleges. So my feeling of the week is no one really knows what's going on with college basketball until at least late January, if not mid-February, with the landscape of college basketball and which teams are actually good. So that is my feeling of the week.
I see. I don't think people care until about conference championship wise. So that's fair. I don't hate that one. It's a pretty good one. Okay. Mine's more on the personal feels. My feeling of the week, everybody that plays golf. I am a golf player. Am I good? No. Unfortunately, I'm not. Went this last week. First hole, came out and birdied it.
Nice.
The rest of the I mean, I had 2 other pars, but the rest were just bogeys or worse. So for those that keep playing the great game that is golf and struggle, but still enjoy it, I salute you. That is my feeling of the week.
Hey, that birdie though, it's the one hole that'll keep you coming back. If you have like a good hole, get a birdie, you're just like, all right, I'm back. I'll be back.
It was the first hole. It was hole 1 at Ted Rhodes, that long par 5 where you go it over a little goalie. Yeah, that's what I did it on, and then
good birdie.
Like I said, hit 2 pars, and the rest is there.
Hey, it's better than a birdieless round. That's
true. Keep on grinding, boys. We'll get there one day. Tiger, we're coming.
Gonna pass him one of these days. All right.
Even if that means he's in his grave, he still might be a better golfer than I
am. Potentially. Yeah, same here. All right. From the Feelings Over Facts podcast, I am your host, Zach Simmons. He's my co-host, Daniel Jones, a.k.a. DJ. Thank you for joining us. Good morning and good night.
Tell somebody you love them.